LoreWarrior Online. The Horned Owl. Overview. Historical records show the Ionosphere viewed the streamlined Horned Owl with confusion, comparing it to a security or aquatic mech. This hypothesis was close to the truth, as the Horned Owl started life as a rugged, submersible construction mech alongside Goliath Scorpion water elementals, before being rebuilt for combat. Popular in the homeworld and widely built for PGCs, today the Horned Owl continues to serve across the Ionosphere. Capabilities. The Horned Owl has never been a powerhouse design, but rather one that lives and dies by its efficiency. The mech is cheap to produce, is mobile enough to choose when to engage, possesses a stabilized long-range weapon, and boasts just enough protection to prevent its quick destruction. The classic Horned Owl excelled at harassing an enemy from afar. Forced to stand and fight in combat, however, it's less successful. The Jaguar Horned Owl and its Goliath Scorpion offshoot used missiles to counteract this to a middling effect. Modern Horned Owls have returned to their roots, though they are still hard-pressed to match the original. Battle history. The most remarkable use of the Horned Owl remains the repulse of a pirate raid on Thule in 3121. Sent in her Horned Owl to flank the pirate's company, MechWarrior Chloe became lost. When she finally found her star, she was horrified to see it being picked over by the pirate's salvage team. After massacring the scavengers, she resolved to offer Surkai for her failure by killing as many of the pirates as she could before her own death. Tracking them through the encroaching gloom, she found the pirate Lager after midnight. Strafing the encampment from the darkness, Kerensky smiled on her when she hit an ammunition pallet, disabling half of the pirates' mechs. Over 2 more grueling days, she engaged in a game of cat and mouse down the length of the Great Fredonian River, slowly whittling the pirates down one laser blast at a time, while avoiding critical damage herself. When the last pirate fell, she returned with her battered, mud-covered Horned Owl to a panicking Thule city, told her story, then collapsed. The Razelhag Dominion has put the Horned Owl 6 into production in 3132 to serve its stillborn militia program. When a sphere-wide conflagration in the wake of the blackout didn't occur, the production was redirected into export, putting it into the thick of the fighting against the Falcons and Draconis Combine. On Orc Royal, dozens fell, piloted by underage Sibkin in their trials of position against the Falcon hordes. The Raven Alliance likewise assigns it to its novice warriors, typically in support of protomechs. As valuable clan tech, the Federated Suns and Lyrans take more care in the use of the 6, with a performance profile that bears more than a passing resemblance to the Wolfhound. Both nations use it to hunt down light mechs. On the Draconis front, Horned Owls have made life short for Panthers, Jenners, and their progeny, but suffer against modern, heavily armed mechs like the Rokorubi. Given the moniker of Capaco for its lack of jump jets, the extreme accuracy of its weapons make it a solid counter to mobile Falcon mechs like the Hero Falcon. Variants. Clan Smoke Jaguar produced the missile-carrying Horned Owl 2 on Huntress, which was reshelled by Clan Goliath Scorpion upon receiving the factory. The Horned Owl 3 was an early Ghost Bear attempt to build the mech in the Ionosphere. Based on an ancient prototype which drops the jump jets for armour and the targeting imputes, the Horned Owl 6 has gone on to success, mostly in the hands of the successor states. The 7, though, was a radical attempt that combines the same protection with the mobility of the originals at the expense of ground speed. Dubbed the Shimafukuro on the Vega front, ironically it's mostly seen action in riparian areas. Notable mechs and mech warriors. Councillor Chloe. A freeborn Razelhagian, Chloe Robertson gave up her surname for the chance to become a mech warrior. More determined than skilled, Chloe somehow managed to pass her trial of position, and was assigned to the 14th PGC. Placed in a vintage Horned Owl, it was hoped the pulse lasers would enable her to hit something. Anything. While Chloe's against-the-odds survival on Thule left her commanding officers in a quandary, it did give her great cachet with the Inheritors serving in Kappa Galaxy. Noting this, the Dominion Watch seconded her for the operations with the Havens. Diplomacy suited the mech warrior, and she retired early, moving into politics and representing Thule as a free birth in the Dominion Council. Uhu the Peregrine. In 3119, Sanrio Galactic Incorporated decided to release a range of plush battle mechs to complement its already extensive range of chibi collectibles. Alongside Irby and Cutie Cat, Uhu became a cultural phenomenon in parts of the Draconis Combine, the Razelhog Dominion, the Capellan Confederation, and Republic. Keyrings, lunchboxes, clothing, toothbrushes, they all followed, and then came the enhanced reality game. The initial craze trailed off after 5 years, but there's been regular revivals ever since. Uhu itself remains notable as a good-natured, accident-prone comedy relief character whose trinkets still show up in mech cockpits with disturbing regularity to this day. I mean, I suppose it's better than it being called Uwu, but there we go. So the Horned Owl, it's a weird one, is this one. It's a mass of 35 tons, chassis is the Coriolis Class 3B Endo Steel, power plant is a Light Force 210, cruise of 64, max of 97, with jump jets provided by Clanlight Series Mark II, jump capacity 180 meters, armor, Forging Carapace 1, ferrofibrous, armament is a single Calibri Delta Series large pulse laser and 2 Calibri Omega Series medium pulse lasers, manufactured by Al-Shaheen Weapons, primary factory on Jarrett, communication system J&E integrated, targeting and tracking TR-TTS Mark II. It's a mech that, like the Shadow Hut 2C, has 20 heat dissipation thanks to 10 double heat sinks, it moves 696, and it has an armor value of 9 on the head, 13 on the torso, 6 on the rear, 10 on the right and left torso with 4 on the rear, 9 on the arms, and 11 on the legs. The pulse lasers are situated in the arms, 1 each, the large pulses in the CT, the rest of it being spread around with the jump jets and all the rest in the legs and torsos. It's a pretty cool redesign, again, for the later Recognition Guide stuff. The artwork for it is a huge step up from what the original one produced because it, well, yeah, you'll see it with the original art. The unseen art is definitely a Zack from Gundam. I'm not actually sure how they got away with even printing this originally, because I'm fairly certain that they never had any agreements with the company that produced the designs of mobile suits. And yeah, the Peregrine, as it's also known, definitely looks like a fucking Zack 1 or some kind of Zack 2 or like a weird midpoint. But to look at it and not see it as a Zack is... it's lucky that they never got sued on that particular one, and I can see why they changed it in later art. That's not to say they changed it for the better, because trust me, TRO 3055 upgrade made it look fucking horrendous, but nowadays, thanks to modern art and taking a classic design such as the original Horned Owl and actually making it look unique, it's far better. And honestly, it's not a bad mech. It's it's not doing anything particularly new, but it's an all-energy design, it's a nice spread across the machine, its armor is pretty right for a 35-tonner. It's not something that you're expecting to get into the fight, but certainly it has the punch there. All pulse lasers, it would be a perfect fit for those wubby people in MWO's kind of scene, an all-internal wub mech that can run around with, well, let's face it, it would get bumped up numbers on the pulse front. And there are variants out there that carry missiles and stuff to keep things interesting. But another Clan Light that can just carry a whole bunch of energy weapons and have good jump jets, I'm sure it would be popular in MWO if it were to appear. I'm sure it would be popular in any game should it appear. It's a cool looking design, as I said, I quite like it. And it's another one of those machines that I'd happily use as a trooper. It's nice to see there's, just as good Clan battle mechs out there as there are Omnimechs. As Omnimechs did kind of take the shine off a lot of the Clan stuff when I think... I might be misremembered, but I think there's more Clan real-line battle mechs than there are Clan frontline Omnimechs, because Omnimechs are more expensive and difficult to produce by comparison, which is why the elites pilot the Omnimechs, and your standard grunts, your free births and stuff, and the like pilot the battle mechs. What are they called? Salama and stuff like that. So those would be a bit more common. So it's one of those things, I think, with a lot of, again, with a lot of the media, the digital media, is that there's a big focus on, the big, shiny, stompy Omnimechs, and not quite as much put onto the battle mechs, which are just as effective. I mean, for 35 ton, you've got a machine that can get quite a lot of damage out very quickly. 3 pulse lasers, so on the table, It's got a relatively decent chance to hit because pulse lasers have a bonus to your to hit rolls, which means it can keep up with a faster moving machine and still have a pretty decent chance of hitting. And when it does, it's pretty good damage. I mean, a large and two mediums pulse-wise are pretty significant damage to any machine within the 20 to 35 ton range, and it means that it can be a great little harasser. Its jump capability of being able to jump 6 hexes makes it rather effective at being able to, say, jump over a hill into some cover, hit a unit in the back, and then the following turn be able to jump away again before that machine's turned around to return fire. So you've got some pretty decent maneuver options there with the Horned Owl. Again, if you were using it as a GM and in a like one of the roleplay scenarios on MechWarrior RPG, you would end up with a scenario where you could throw this thing in. It could really harass players and make their lives miserable. A star with a couple of these in would be pretty nasty. But I'll wrap it up there with the Horned Owl, or the Peregrine, as it's known in the Inner Sphere. Both names are quite good, actually. I think I would probably call this the Horned Owl more than the Peregrine. But yeah, cool mech as a redesign. Not a bad design to begin with, and it avoids that that legal part of it. But yeah, have a good one, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.